Exercise 4-13 asks us to do a cash flow statement constructed in the direct method. And then exercise 4-14 and under 13 is under US GAAP. Under 14 is under IFRS, in International Financial Reporting Standards. I'm going to do the exercise 4-13 and then just make some comments as to what the differences are that would be in 4-14. All right, so the first thing, we have a list of things that they told us happens. We have cash received from and a thing of 5 things, and then a cash paid for. It looks like 6 things there, and we have to break these into the 3 sections: the operating, the investing, and the financing section. So we start off with our cash from operating activities. And we're going to do our cash received from first. And so operating collections from customers is the first one. That's an operating activity. And we're told that's $380,000. We have interest on notes receivable of $6,000. That's an operating activity. Okay, the next one down is the collection of the notes receivable. That would be a financing activity. Sale of investments would be an investing activity, and issuance of notes payable would be a financing activity. So we've got all the cash received from operating activities. Now we move to the cash paid for. So we have the cash paid for inventory. That's certainly an operating activity. And we're told it's $160,000, and we'll put parentheses around that. Interest on the notes payable, that is an operating activity under GAAP. And we are told that's $5,000. Purchase of equipment is investing. Salaries to employees, that's an operating activity. Oops. That's $90,000. Payment of notes payable is a financing, and dividend to shareholder is a financing. So that's it. This is all of our operating activities. And so this is our net cash from operating activities. And we generally put that off to the side, add that all up, and it should come to $131,000. All right, then we go to our cash flows from financing activities. Okay, and so now we'll do the received. And so we have the collection of notes receivable. And that's going to be the $50,000. We have the sale of investments. and that's 30,000. And the issuance of notes payable, that would be financing. Now, something to point out here as we're doing this, a notes receivable, right, is an investment, whereas a notes payable is a financing activity. So make sure that you're clear on that one. That's really about the only one I find a little bit tricky. All right, then our cash paid for activities. We have the purchase of equipment, 85,000. And we'll put that in brackets. And so then we'll have the net cash from financing activities. I'm sorry, from investing activities. Started to write financing. And so 80 minus 85 would be a negative 5,000. Then we get to the cash flows from financing activities. Oops, that should have been investing. By the way, this is one of the reasons I suggest you do your work in pencil. I'm doing it in ink so that it shows up a little bit better on the thing, but the pencil is preferred. So we've got our cash from financing activities up there. And that's going to be our cash received. We have the issuance of notes payable. And that's $100,000. That's all of our financing cash coming in, cash going out. We would have payment of the notes payable. And financing would be dividends to shareholders for 20,000. And those should both be in brackets. So we got 45 plus 100, it gives us a positive 55,000. This is our cash flow from financing. And so our the bottom line here is our net increase in cash. We add that up. So 131 minus 5 is 126, plus 55, 70, be 181,000. Okay. And so that's how we prepare a cash flow statement using the direct method. Now, let me comment. This was GAAP. Let me comment about IFRS. Remember I said the two things that happen under IFRS, remember I said they're not entirely, that GAAP I didn't think was entirely consistent. Dividends is considered a financing activity. IFRS, you have a little more flexibility. You can either put it under financing or you can choose to put that under operating. And the same is true on the payment of interest. You can put the payment of interest either under operating as we do with GAAP, or you can put that under financing. activities as well. And so what you end up having is a cash flow statement from under IFRS could be exactly the same as GAAP, or it could differ just a little. The total amount won't differ. The total increase or decrease in cash will not change regardless of whether you're using IFRS or GAAP. But the individual, particularly the operating section and the financing section, could be slightly different under IFRS and GAAP, but the total amount will always be the same. All right, so that's exercise 4-13.